Hey guys, okay, so another day has come and gone, and I have finished up my job here. God damn, a fly just ran in my head. Hey, I was just thinking about something though, because I've had the Arrow season finale in my head all day. I've been just thinking about how lackluster and like finalizing that show was, that particular episode, especially that last segment with Oliver riding away into the sunset with Felicity. That bullshit, like a forced romance nobody liked as an actual romance, but that, in my opinion, kind of killed a lot of the show and the momentum of how edgy and like dark or whatever that show was, or just action-packed. Anyways, I was just thinking about that ending, and I started thinking to myself, like, what if the reason why it seemed like a series finale opposed to a season finale, the reason it seemed like a series finale and they gave Oliver this happy ending, and, you know, I've been thinking about this ever since shit got real with Captain Lance figuring out who the Arrow is, and who the vigilante is and all that shit, right? I started thinking about this like way back when, and you can check some of my reactions because I think I stated this. Sorry, I'm gonna put my hand down this way. What if all of this, because of the way the scheduling was set up purposely, the Flash was set up scheduling wise, the Flash and Arrow, I'm thinking to myself, definitely next week in the season finale of The Flash, we're going to end up getting the Flashpoint Paradox, basically. Like, Flashpoint is going to happen. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the comics or the animation, Flashpoint Paradox is basically when the Flash decided to go back in time and try to save his mom. And this actually happened quite recently, but by doing that, by saving his mom, he actually ended up altering the point of history, like the entire timeline. It was a huge thing, and like Batman, Superman, everybody was different. Like, I don't know how, I mean, comics, whatever, right? But basically, that's what happened. And then he ended up going back to change time again. He ended up going back in time to stop himself from saving his mom or some shit like that. And the Reverse Flash was part of it and everything. But basically, that's the reason why we have Superman without underwear on the outside anymore and Batman without underwear on the outside anymore, because of this particular storyline. It basically was a way for creators to kind of like have a fresh start in DC, to get a more modern line, so to speak. So I'm thinking more and more, the reason it seemed like this is going to be the happy ending Oliver gets and that whole thing is because of the fact that in reality everything's going to get erased, because you couldn't go back, right? The Arrow for the most part is dead. There's no way people are going to forget. Like, there was no way he could go back to Starling City and be the vigilante and all this shit, right? So I've been thinking about this for a while, but now I'm like even more convinced, and it's like more evident, especially with that weird happy ending that was so strange, and Speedy taking over and all this other shit, and Malcolm is running the League of Shadows. Like, all of this seemed like it was interesting, but it seems so non-canon in a sense, to the point where you're not really actually that interested in watching the show that much anymore. The way it kind of was just all set up, something was kind of strange with that. So that's what I'm thinking. That's my theory. We're gonna find out next week. I'm like 70%, 80% sure that's exactly what's going to happen. Is the Flash is gonna fuck around, try to save his mom, fuck up the timeline, which is everybody's timeline. And if anything, you know, would be really interesting is if I was reading an article briefly about how all the shows on CW, CBS, the Supergirl show, all that, how they're all technically connected. I'm starting to wonder if this is going to be basically whatever the Flash does, it's going to reset the universe for everything to help blend in with the Supergirl show as well. Anyways, that's my theory, guys. What do you think? I'm pretty much sure the timeline is going to get fucked up and the Arrow universe is completely going to be different soon. I'd be very curious to find out, though. Let me know. Peace.
I'm Harry.